What's up, YouTubers? Today we have Manix 2 versus Manix 2. On the left side here we have the Manix 2 with the G10 in the M390 steel. These go for about 170, I think it's about 172 bucks. On your right side here we have the lightweight Manix 2 in Maxamet steel with your FRN scales. So this one goes for about, I want to say 210 bucks. It does weigh 2.9 ounces, and the M390 one with full liners in there weighed 4.2 ounces for me. So that just kind of gives you an idea. Obviously the weight difference there is going to come into play here. So let's jump right into this. As far as the blade goes, I don't know if it's because Spyderco actually used was able to do a coarser grit on this one, but the Maxamet did seem to cut a little bit better. I will go ahead and intercut in here one of the few things that I found differentiate a little bit, and that was cutting through some pretty thick zip ties. As far as cutting goes, I found them both to be about the same. However, I would say that because the Maxamet it came from factory with just a little bit coarser grind, it was able to bite into it a little bit better. And I'm going to demonstrate this on this fairly thick, this I would call a medium-sized zip tie material. It's pretty rough on blades, and the M390 is definitely struggling a bit here. It makes it through it, but there is definitely a noticeable difference. Whereas when you're with the Maxamet, get my finger up there, it's just that slightest bit easier, and I think it is because they probably grind it maybe at a slightly lower grit. So if I had to, if there's a finite difference between the two, it's generally speaking not noticeable on most stuff. But when you're doing things that are exceptionally hard on the blade, the Maxamet's definitely going to win. And I would expect that anyway, just based on what we know about Maxamet at this point in time. So on the blade, the Maxamet wins. It does have a stonewash blade. That's obviously going to be for somewhat protection reasons, since this is a more corrosionable. That's a great word. This is a less stainless steel. In fact, it's not a stainless steel Maxamet, but the M390 is very stainless. So as far as, if you value stainlessness, maybe the M391 is going to be better for you. I think they're both going to take quite a bit of effort to sharpen. Actually, we'll talk about that in a little bit. In terms of the carry on these ones, I talked about the weight, and for me, the 4.2 ounce one was just a little bit heavier, obviously. The nice 2.9 ounce one of this one was a little bit better. Plus, some of the jimping here or texturing on the back spine, I don't know, just when this goes in your pocket, if you're reaching your hand in, and it just catches on your wallet and other things like that a little bit more. So in terms of carryability, I definitely found with just this plastic stuff, the FRN here, texturing, that the Maxamet one, the lightweight, definitely better for carryability. So it definitely won that one. In terms of ergos, I actually kind of found it at Tale of Two Cities. Tale of Two Cities? How about a Tale of Two Knives? For the regular in the hand, the lightweight one was actually much better because, again, it comes back to some of that texturing on there. It's not overly aggressive when it's down, when it's right on the scales like that. But this one, which utilizes the actual liners for that texturing, that's an awful handful. It's not quite into Rick Hinder texturing territory, but man, it definitely does come into play. And with the bare hand, not the most comfortable if you're cutting through some hard stuff or cutting for quite a while. That being said, when it came to actually the glove test, because this is a knife I could see possibly using with a glove, the plastic one is definitely much more slip-slidey and is not so good. They both, plus also with the extra light weight, it's a little bit tougher to put away in a glove. The M390 one with the full G10, definitely the extra heft is much more appreciated. Push that open again. But that texturing is much more beneficial when you're doing a glove. So, if your primary use is going to be gloves, hard in the field or something like that, you might, for you it might be the case. For me, I'm not going to really be using this one as a hard use. I would be using something like a Hinder or something else, that's going to be a little bit beefier and that I can a little bit stronger and can beat up a little bit more. So for me, really as an EDC knife, the Manix 2 lightweight wins in that category. So I know it's 3-0, but one of the things when I did do the full review of the lightweight is I noticed, and I didn't know it when I bought it, but I had identified that, oh, they peened these closed, so there is no serviceability on this knife, really. Now, they both use washers, so, you know, if you treat it well enough, you're probably not going to have to do too much maintenance, but you never know. You just never know. And so I was a little bit perturbed with that I could never really do any service on it. I would have to just compressed air, alcohol, do the usual thing. But this one with the full G10 actually is fully serviceable. You can take these off. Of course, be aware, I think you invalidate the warranty from Spyderco, but really, who cares, right? If you're to the point where you're this far into the knife game, it doesn't really matter to you. And if you want to do servicing of a knife. So in terms of the serviceability, I definitely found that the G10 one was much better. Oh, going back to the carry too, kind of forgot to mention this, but the 2 pocket clips, the wire clip has a nice landing. The regular one lands on some fairly aggressive G10. Obviously, you can sand that. I do wish that Spyderco had learned from the things that they've done with these lightweights and built a landing pad and put a landing pad on the scales here. You know, they're both left-handed and right-handed tip, or left-handed carry or right-handed tip-up carry. So that's kind of a wash there between the two. So serviceability, definitely the G10 one wins. In terms of customizability, obviously for the same reason, you have the ability to put on titanium scales, replace the bearing cage with a titanium one to replace the kind of ugly black one. I don't know, I just wish that it had been color matched or something. I don't mind the plastic. I have found that it's pretty robust, but it just, I don't know, just personal preference. So in terms of the customizability, lots more options on the full G10 model. Then in terms of looks, let's be honest, this is one of the ugliest knives in Spyderco's repertoire anyway. And so if you know, when it comes down to it, the one in the G10 does look nicer. You know, you have this good textured pattern, but it kind of just looks like a bunch of pimples on the Maxamet one, and the regular one with full liners and M390 obviously looks a little bit better. You can dye these scales, do all sorts of things like that to make it look even better. They both have replaceable clips. There are replaceable clips for the wire one as well as the spoon clip from, you know, so that in terms of the looks of the clip, that can be a wash too. You can get a Lynch one for both of those. So on the whole, for me, my primary use for the Manix 2 is not kind of a hard use where I'm going to be out in the field and I'm going to need the robustness of the liners. So for me, the Maxamet was a fairly easy win, you know, for myself. You know, for you, it'd be interesting to see. Leave a comment below. Do like and subscribe. It's always nice to hear what other people's thoughts are in terms of when there's a comparison a comparison of two knives. So hope you did enjoy this. Take care.